go to the Politico website first thing in the morning. I may never go there. Depends on the day. I don't consider it a very useful site. It's sort of like the Washington Compost, but digital. Hates conservatives for the most part. Hates the Koch brothers, on and on down the list. Hates me, that I can tell you. But there's no avoiding this. I think you've heard this discussed, many of you, throughout the day with various hosts. Here's the article. Exclusive. Lois Lerner breaks silence. Now, why would she go to Politico to break her silence? Well, that's a rhetorical question. We know why. So it says, Republicans who earlier this year held her in contempt of Congress accused Lerner of using her position to push for audits and denial of tax-exempt status to Karl Rove's Crossroads and other GOP groups. They've released partial emails, including one that President Barack Obama's reelection, in which she and Miles is her husband, bemoan far-right conservative talk radio, calling them crazies and a-holes. Now, for most of you, that's where most of your hosts have stopped today, and then they skipped over a few paragraphs and went into the rest of the article, and where Lois Lerner positions herself as a put-upon victim. Anti-Semitism has been directed at her. I didn't even know she was Jewish, but there you go, Lois. I'm Jewish too. It happens from the left, trust me. But then here's the third paragraph. I'll bet you didn't hear this one. The couple said the exchange was taken entirely out of context. Miles wrote the email after listening to callers on the Mark Levin show rant about stockpiling food and guns to fight because Obama was going to run the country into the ground. Lerner, then in London, responded from her work email about having chatter about the U.S. hearing chatter about the U.S. being a broken system for its fiscal brinkmanship over the debt ceiling. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been at this for some time. I don't remember callers calling in talking about stockpiling food and guns because Obama's going to run the country into the ground. Stockpiling food and guns? Well, maybe there was a caller here and there, but that's not common fare on this program. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, our sales and marketing department came to me and said there was a company that wanted to advertise on my show about storing, freeze-dried food. I said, no. I'm not going to run those commercials. If people want to do that, fine. But that's not where this program is headed. That's not how this program characterizes itself. Now, other hosts have done that. I don't. And if you want to do it, I don't complain about it. Go ahead and do it. So it is very peculiar indeed that Lois Lerner and her husband would be listening to this program, or at least her husband, and getting out of the program that you, my beloved audience, have been calling into this show talking about stockpiling food and guns. Now, I know some shows and some hosts wish that they were mentioned in these articles. I don't like it because it's a lie from beginning to end. And she's a liar from start to finish. Maybe there's some internet shows that do this. Maybe there's a couple big mouths on the terrestrial radio or satellite that do this. I don't do this. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe you should be armed to defend your family, Obama or no Obama. But the idea that now somehow I and you were involved in starting this scandal is so preposterous. As a matter of fact, as many of you know who've listened to this program over the years, Landmark Legal Foundation, my little conservative legal foundation I'm so proud of and proud of the lawyers there, we're the ones that initiated this investigation through our contact with the Inspector General Office for the Tax Administration at the Treasury Department. We had a couple of members of Congress who wrote these pathetic, superficial letters to the IRS and then dropped the ball, even though they run these committees. But we had somebody contact us, tell us they're not getting responses from Capitol Hill. They're not getting help from other legal groups that have now all jumped into this. And I said specifically, well, I know what we need to do. We need to contact the Tax Administration Unit, the Inspector General's Office, Treasury, because the IRS itself is not going to do a damn thing. So now we've come full circle. In Politico, you'd expect it, Lois Lerner accusing you and my audience of being the reason she wrote that email to her husband about talk radio crazies and a-holes, because her husband was listening to this program, hearing people talking about stockpiling food and guns. Now, is it ironic at all that she's talking to Politico but won't talk to Congress? That she pleads the Fifth? Does that sound like somebody who wants to tell the truth? She has every constitutional right to do it. That's not the point, is it? Of course, she wouldn't talk about the substance at all, because she's been lawyered. But this is the most corrupt Internal Revenue Service ever. Ever. The most corrupt Justice Department, if not ever, certainly among the top 2 or 3. And so the Justice Department will not conduct a serious or fulsome criminal investigation into this woman and either your hacks and political partisans over at the IRS. Obama will not direct his Attorney General to appoint a special counsel because Obama's a cover-up artist too. But let us just be clear, and I have to underscore this because it's in the 3rd paragraph of the article. The couple said the exchange was taken entirely out of context, in which she calls you crazies and a-holes. Miles wrote the email after listening to callers on the Mark Levin show rant about stockpiling food and guns to fight because Obama was going to run the country into the ground. That's a flat-out lie. Maybe there was one caller or 2 callers, but I dismissed them quickly. A flat-out lie. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry is commenting on this article, but somehow, Mr. Producer, they didn't see paragraph 3. That's the nature of this business. A lot of backstabbing, a lot of plagiarism, but that's the way it is. Now, when we come back, excuse me. Now, I'm going to tell you what this is from, this breathlessness, this coughing, and so forth. It's from my heart medicine. So it needs to be adjusted. Among other things, you got to balance it out. And sometimes it just causes your throat and beyond that, your esophagus to get dry, and it's a little harder to breathe. Don't be worried. Everything's fine. I'm not going anywhere. But I'm just explaining to you what it is. Because I'm sure it's annoying. Trust me, it's annoying to me.